Bro, I'm just watching the video you made for me. The sound that you put, the Phrygian dominant, the A1, man, just that sound is just drove me crazy. It just drove me crazy. I'm just watching the video. It's on the 650 minute. When you put that sound, I'm just going crazy. Wow.
Hello Farad, I have your project opened up here that you just sent me. Let me just read out your message again so I know what to focus on. Hey man, can you check if this is in key? I put F minor. Also, I'm stuck now and what I can do. I have this idea in my head but can't put it into composition. Okay, sure, let's see what we can do then. So this is the idea that you have put together. Let's check the key first. So if I want to check the key, I load up a Diva or any synthesizer that allows me to play it on the keyboard. Diva, let's go. So this would be your track here. C, D, E, F. F is correct, F minor. Is that note in the background? Duh. Let's see if it's very quiet. F, yeah. Let's see here. Cool. So it feels very melodic, lush, a lot of focus on the drums. I feel like there is not too much change. Every element that comes in feels like it's a background element, but not something that gives the track a lot of character. So 119 BPM is correct. Yeah, you definitely need to add more sweeps and transitions to the entire track to make it feel more smoothened out. You can take either drum fills or you could also take like melodic synths or something like that. To demonstrate, I'm going to take a few synths that I'm currently working on. So this is A sharp minor, right? Just as an example, it's not in the key of your track, but you can still use it because A sharp minor, if we were to demonstrate, where is A sharp? A sharp is here, yeah? But your track is here, so we're gonna have to pitch it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 semitones down, 5 halftone steps. So let's go here, pitch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's change the warp mode to Pro so it sounds better when we warp it down. And to make it smoothen with the mix a bit more, we're going to add some kind of delay plugin. I like color copy, but you don't need it. You can also use the default delay by Ableton. You can put it on this 8th note delay mode here. See how it fills out the track more. You can also take echo. So let's put that aside here. Same thing, 8th note dotted delay, increase feedback, reverb we don't need, ping pong, maybe less dry wet, same effect. Yeah, you can definitely put those throughout your entire track. It doesn't have to be the same sound and you can be more precise where you place it, but just give it a bit more texture by adding in sounds like these, and you see you can get very creative here. So this is F sharp minor and your track is in F minor, so we need to just pitch it down 1 because F sharp is 1 semitone above F. Sharp means that it's 1 semitone above and flat means it's 1 semitone below. So let's give it a play. Let's see how this sounds. So these sound very dreamy, right? Like really ambient swell type filler sounds, which is okay if that's what you're aiming for, but it entirely depends on the sound that you're choosing. You can also go to Splice or any other platform or select sounds that have a different vibe to them. You don't have to overcomplicate it, just look through sounds that you feel inspired by. For example, this one feels a bit more energetic. It's not so ambient like the other ones that we selected here, but it's not in key, right? It's in D minor. So how do we make that fit? You're in F minor, right? So D minor would be here or it would be here. So we could either pitch it down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It fits, but it's going to be really low. Still interesting. I have to say, it still sounds cool, but we could also pitch it up 1, 2, 3, and we would also have F. So we can go an octave above or an octave below, hitting shift arrow up and down. So both is the F key. Let's see how this sounds. A bit better. Double click. You see it's warped strangely, 80 BPM, but the sound is 121. You can always change that here. And if you don't see that, simply hit warp. Yeah. And 121. There we go. So your track is definitely missing these sounds, these background sounds that give it a bit more healing. This I would consider to be ear candy. Fillers are ear candy. This is why I've also named the folder accordingly, because I find these sounds to be very important. See, we also have like these Phrygian melodies that I just created like a few minutes ago. Exclusive. And yeah, this is an A, right? So how do we make it fit? I mean, it's in Phrygian dominant. This is an Oriental scale, but we can still perhaps make it work with F minor. Let's see. So A, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we would have to pitch this sound down by 4. Let's see how it fits. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, it's warped strangely. So let me change that to 1, 2, 1. Let's see. Awesome, man. Awesome. Just by going through sounds, I can find some that fit well to my track and just give it a bit more character, you know? And you see how these two are placed next to each other? This gives it a bit more of a call and response type feeling. So again, we could take these, place them here, call, response, call, response. But we don't want this to sound the same, right? This sounds exactly the same like the one previously, and it's just boring. So let's go into 16th and cut this guy up so we change the individual notes. So where's that last note? Turn off delay for now. So I think this is this one here, right? Dun. Trying to sing these melodies. So I'm just going through the notes, seeing which one sounds best. Oh, that sounds terrible. Let's change the warp mode to complex. I don't think it's gonna fit though, because it's -9 is usually a bit too much. Let's go up. We could perhaps compensate this weird warping by adding some high cut to the sound, echo, and adding some reverb. Yeah, I don't think this is working out, but you get the principle. You can change notes within an audio sample. The reason it's not working for this sample specifically is because it has too much delay and reverb in it already, and the notes, they melt with each other. You see that? Those are notes that are melting each other, which is why it's not working on this one. But perhaps we can find another sound where we can do that. Let's see if this one works. Oops. So this one's A, right? A. I can go back into the MIDI panel. A. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 semitones down to make it fit to our key. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see if we can change every single note on this guy here. Okay. So I don't want to make it too long, so just add some echo. Maybe we can completely change it. So like this, done. And remember, I'm just doing this by ear. I'm just paying attention which notes sound good to me. Let's select these, Complex Pro, make it sound better. You see, that's what I mean. For this specific sample, it works because the notes are, it's just one note, dum 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 dum. And I'm very easily able to change them individually. And you know what? We could perhaps use this sound before we introduce the break. Maybe with a bit more feedback here. You can play a lot with feedback. Look what you can do with feedback. If you have a break where it starts to become very empty, like you take away the kick and everything, you can automate the feedback of a sound that says hello before the break. Like this one here. It's like... And you can go over... If you're over 100%, it gets dangerous. So you make sure you want to go back. You know, just create those interesting little soundscapes. Can add some kind of like... Maybe we can pitch this guy up an octave, you know, just shift arrow up. There we go, man. Awesome. And pitch it down one octave. So we're creating octave variation to make the sound different. So now the feedback comes in. I want a bit more though. Let's go over 100. So much more interesting now. You have to be very careful with automating this though, because you determine how long the sound needs to fade in, fade out. You have a lot of room to play with when you automate parameters like this. Yeah, I'd say it's all about just finding the right sounds to put in. You can take this guitar, for example, just put it in there somewhere. Like I didn't even properly listen to the sound. I just drag and drop, you know? Yeah, let's try to make this work here. So this is G sharp minor. Again, let's test it out. It's always practical to have a MIDI clip where you can see your notes. G sharp minor is, where is G sharp? Holy moly, that's like up there. If we pitch it down, there we go. 1, 2, 3. So 3 semitones down on the guitar. Pro. I'm just testing out which pitch sounds best to me, to be honest, because I don't think that -3 was the best. Or what I can do is change single notes and not the entire progression. Dun, dun, dun. But it sounds kind of fake though, not like a real guitar, right? So let's play around with the warp modes and add a high cut. So it now becomes more of a background sound. Whenever elements start to feel fake, I usually try to make them less noticeable by putting them into the background with high cut and delay. Messing around with the warp mode again to get some different tones. There we go. And again, you can do the same thing. You can automate the feedback of the delay to make it fade into the break. And let's say you want to add a melody manually with MIDI. You can do that too. Load up a scale before your Diva. So plugins, no, MIDI effects, scale. Let's say you're aiming for something oriental. So you can take the, where is that? Where is the Phrygian? Yeah, Phrygian. Phrygian. There we go. Phrygian mode and Phrygian dominant. You can take these two. I like the Phrygian dominant one because it includes a few different notes. See here, they change these ones. This is basically the Ableton push panel that shows you which notes can be played. Every little note has a role to play. You can also select these notes and tell it which notes are allowed and which ones not. But I'm gonna have to get into that more myself. I know that if you select the scale, drag it down here, it automatically has the notes adjusted, and then you can set the bass note, which is F minor, or F, Phrygian dominant, I mean, and then we can start drawing in some notes here, right? So this is our Diva default patch. Let's see if we can go for some other preset. Anything is perfectly fine. I'm gonna go for like a pluck. So now if we drag our note down, oh, headphones perhaps. You see, these two notes sound the same, even though they're actually different. That's because the scale is turned on. And if I turn it off, so it only allows certain notes to be played. And if you're just getting in touch with music theory, this is somewhat of a lazy approach, but it helps. So just drew in some random notes, but it doesn't have to be random. You can take your time with these. You can draw in more precise notes. Let's see how this sounds. I don't like it so much. Let's change the placement. You know what? Let's completely delete it. I don't like it at all. Let's drag it up here. Maybe just like this. And add a delay. Cool. Already sounds a bit cooler. Let's do some referencing at this point. You know, if we're not inspired at all, we can always go for some artists that we like Namito, and see what they do with their music. You see how much background elements there are? There's like this da 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 in the background the whole time. What we could do is create a bit of a faster vibe to this track. It already feels pretty chill. But what makes Namito's track stand out and feel so energetic is that da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da the whole time. So again, we're just taking him as a reference point. You could work with samples, you can work with MIDI, whatever works for you. I'm just going to work with MIDI because that's simpler for me at the moment. So we could perhaps select an ARP. This is already a 16th ARP. You can see here, 16th, right? So we might as well add like a background ARP. There's a ton of samples out there that contain 16th notes, so it doesn't necessarily need to be this ARP. So legato. Maybe pitch it down. And that's all we need, right? Cool thing is that with presets we can use the controls of the parameter here. So let's say we want to make the synth go up and up and up, and in the break we dial it back down to 0. So let's do it like this. Cutoff we can take and put it then back down in the break. So we're opening up the sound. Starts at 0 here, or very low. Of course, we're not going to get the same effect as Namito because we shouldn't copy. You know, we can take them as a reference point. I think his track is a completely different BPM and it already utilizes completely different elements. This one is more of a chill track. But we can reference for inspiration, find out what else we can try. So I would automate the delay, let's say. And in the break, we say goodbye to the ARP. But we can say hello back again, but maybe in time. And then I would take these guys copy, paste them here. And you can add some kind of vocal now, like a Persian vocal. Do I still have your vocal here somewhere? I don't know. And see if I can incorporate it here. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So what's the BPM on this? 117, right? Let's double click. Warp 117. There we go. So it should fit now. I'm just testing it out, really just for the sake of explanation. I don't want to implement the vocal into the track. Just want to like take a snippet and show how this would be done. Completely different pitch too. Maybe this is the right pitch, I don't know. Key isn't labeled, so I don't know that yet. But we can process the vocal very, very easily. Usually I would take a bit more time for vocals. There's a few wave plugins, CLA, they're like an all-in-one. There's a good plugin out there called Fresh Air, which is for free. But ultimately we just need a bit of reverb and delay for the vocals and maybe make them feel a bit more sharp. This depends entirely how you want the vibe of the vocal to be. If you want it to be very present, then you would boost the highs. If you would want it to feel more backgroundy, you would take away the highs. So we would, let's say, I just squeezed it in there, but I just wanted to demonstrate that this is what you can do with the track. You can put in vocals, you can put in a zitar, an oud, or whatever other element that you have lying around. I prefer to use samples because those are a bit more quick to work with, and why not use them? There's tons of services out there. Splice, Arcade Output, Loop Masters, sample packs. Why not use them? I mean, they already have cool sounds inside them. You can incorporate them into your own productions. That's exactly what they're made for. There are synths out there like Taksim, but those do require a bit of playing, a bit of music theory knowledge for you to be able to play in the right scale or the right notes, which is why I would rather prefer samples instead of those instruments. But hey, you can make anything work. I prefer using this guy for specific scales, but yeah, that's a bit of an inspiration. Hope this helped you.